guys, it's me, Shun. It's been a while since I've hosted an episode of Mic'd Up, but I'm back. Anyways, welcome back to a new episode. Today we have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Amir Hamza, who is an up-and-coming musician who has been doing music for at least the past 12 years. So we discuss all sorts of things from the music industry, his history as well, and the music scene in Malaysia. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. All right, hello everyone, welcome back. As mentioned in the introduction, I have my friend, a very good friend here, Amir Hamza. So he's just gonna give himself a brief introduction to who he is and whatnot to you guys. So Amir, take it away.
Hi, my name is Amir Hamza. I am a musician and I am a future artist per se. If I want to be an artist, but I'm studying music currently, in the Institute of Music in Australia. It's in Melbourne, so I'm back in Malaysia for a while because of COVID. So, but that's just that's all I have.
Uh, you mentioned you're in Australia, so like, why don't you just tell everyone like how was your experience over there? Especially during like the times of COVID.
Well, the first few months when I was there, it wasn't too bad, honestly, because I chose to go to Melbourne instead of Sydney because the culture in Melbourne itself is just it's really arts focused, and it's a lot of it just inspires me to want to create more. Really creative city. A lot of people actually support local artists there, so that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to go there, because it was just really like breathtaking. It's like a breath of fresh air, if I would say. But the people there in general are really friendly. You get the occasional like maybe racist person, but I've only experienced one form of racism myself, but I couldn't care much about it. Um, but it kind of sucks because I've only experienced being on campus for, I would say, only about 2 months, slightly more than 2 months, and it was okay for before COVID happened. When Melbourne went into complete lockdown, it was okay at first because I was like, oh, I can stay home, I can play games, you know, whatnot. But after a while, it kind of got depressing, honestly, because I was just like locked in like my own house, which I share with 3 other people. But being it stuck in there for like um how long was I stuck in there?
Almost half a year, right? When we were
Yeah, so like I was stuck in my house for like 7 months, 7 to 8 months, and it really sucked. It got to me a few times because uh as someone in the creative industry, it takes a toll on you because um a lot of people required to be maybe like outside, just doing their day to day, and they might feel inspired by something or
right.
the events that happen around you. So it just being stuck at home just sucked a lot. So when my dad gave me the opportunity to like fly back, I just said, yeah, sure, why not?
I
And I
think
got to
it,
see all my friends again.
yeah, that's true. I mean, it was quite a surprise when you came back that time to bloody
Yeah.
hell, man. You just came to my house and then like, oh hi, I'm back. We all didn't even know that you were back. But yeah,
Yeah, so only one of our friends, his name's Lam. Only he knew that I was coming back because he just happened to be in a Discord call with me when I was talking to my dad about flying back. I just told him. But it was him and my housemate, Young. But other than that, every one of my friends didn't know I was coming back.
but in terms of like the music culture and everything in Australia, it's definitely more like prominent and whatnot, right? Like more well established compared to here.
Uh, yeah. If you look at it in the bigger picture, then yeah, it's more established when you're based there, because the main thing is that people in Australia are really supportive of their local scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just way bigger compared to Malaysia, because I would say the music industry in Southeast Asia, it's somewhat it is big, but it's not on the caliber of like countries like Australia or the US, the UK, European countries. It's just not as big,
Right.
and just um the consumers of local music here compared to those countries, um I would say are like in smaller numbers of people,
Mm-hmm.
because there definitely are people who are aware of uh the local music scene, but I can assure you, if you go to one of your friends, probably I would say one out of six or one out of seven people will only know like the one local. If you mention one local band, like they might know them,
Like the more
that kind
famous
of thing.
ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll come back to like the music scene and everything in Malaysia later. I mean, we've known each other for like how long right now? 13 years? 12, 13 years, right? Since you
Yeah,
were
about 12
eight.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, about 12 years, yeah. And I think for as long as I remember, you've always like been into music, especially like learning guitar and whatnot, right? So
Mm.
I guess what or who inspired you to really get into music in the first place?
I can't remember the first thing that happened that triggered my interest in music, but I remembered I was going I was going on a trip to the US when I was about 9. I think I was almost 10, so like about 9 years old, right?
Standard five, right? I
So
think standard four,
no,
standard
no, no,
five, I
no, no.
think.
I went I went on that trip, I think before standard 4. So that was before I went to B4.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So um yeah, I just remembered being in the car and then asking my dad like, oh hey, when I come back, can I learn an instrument? He was like, oh yeah, sure, what you gonna learn? Then I was like, oh, I want to learn drums. Then he was like, oh, we live in a condo, it's so inconvenient, it's so loud and it requires so much space.
True,
I
true.
was like, oh, yeah, true. Then he was like, oh, you want to learn guitar? Like, why not? You know, and at that time, I think my dad just found back his collection of like heavy metal and like hard rock CDs and what. So he
Right.
would play them in the car, and I really dug it. So for the first few years of my life, probably like from the age of 10 to like 13 or 14,
Mm-hmm.
I prominently played a lot of like rock metal and stuff, because that was where uh, I uh, I found inspiration from to want to play guitar. So that's how it all sort of began.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, uh, I honestly got bored of playing guitar, because I saw it as a thing where like every week I go for a class, and then um it's just class, like I'm not learning more out of it, because I saw music as a very one-dimensional thing where it's just, oh, you play this riff, oh, you play this song, and like that's it. I didn't get any other excitement out of it. So uh when I was around 16, uh I that was when I first discovered lo-fi and neo soul stuff, like all these popular ways of guitar playing nowadays on Instagram. If you happen to like follow guitar pages or like any sort of like music
That's like it
page.
was at least something different from what you thought was the conventional way of
Yeah,
playing, right?
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So it was something really different. And uh, for those who don't know, lo-fi is actually it's low fidelity music. So that explains why a lot of that music has the background noise of, let's say, like the vinyl or just very atmospheric sounds in the background
Mm-hmm.
to give off that like vintage sound, but it's uh the music itself is played on like I would say uh a hip hop or like any rhythm that's sort of along those lines, you know. But the part that stood out to me the most was how people sampled jazz and put it into that kind of context. And that was my first exposure of listening to jazz in a different way.
Mm.
I've always liked jazz, but I never knew how to like go out and find a specific subgenre of jazz to listen to because it has such a wide variety of genres. So when you're someone who's new to jazz, like you don't know where to begin, you know. Yeah, you're just like maybe you go to Google and you just like jazz. Yeah, you know.
I think for like the average person, the typical jazz would be you play in like those blues cafes or anything, very
Or
classic
like
kind of
people would say
jazz.
like elevator music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So so that's uh so when I discovered lo-fi, it
Mm-hmm.
sparked the interest of jazz guitar for me. So I started learning a lot of jazz guitar like basics myself from YouTube and just going around the internet trying to find stuff. And I was actually still having my guitar classes, but because of this new interest, I sort of like uh, wanted to learn more about about like this kind of stuff, right? But my guitar teacher at that time wasn't so focused on jazz. Uh, now that I think about it, I don't really know what he's focused on, but he played a lot of rock. You know, typical Malay dude, long hair, play guitar. Yeah, but he is still somewhat knowledgeable in theory. But that theory is something that I never really got my hands dirty in until I actually went into music college. But anyways, uh, I just went on with my classes, and when I was 16, that was my last year of taking classes because I wasn't gonna continue for Form 5 because of SPM,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so when that was my last year, I took this exam by Rock School. I took a grade 8 exam. That there was one song named oh, am I allowed to swear?
Go ahead. It's
I
fine.
accidentally cussed.
Go.
I accidentally cussed now. I'll try not to. Yeah, but it was this bossa nova song. I can't remember what it was called, but that was sort of like the first jazz song that I ever like tried playing, and I actually had a lot of fun.
Mm.
But it was kind of tough because I didn't know what I was doing that whole time, right? So uh, I am grade 8 in rock school, but I kind of just like barely passed. I think I got like 60 something.
I mean,
I
a
can't
pass is
remember.
a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I'm grade 8. But yeah, anyways. So after that, it was just uh me sort of learning the basics of jazz myself in that whole Form 5 year, which was, man, when were we in Form 5?
2016.
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, so 5 years ago. That was when I first started like learning jazz and stuff and like how to improvise. And my guitar teacher did teach me the basics of improvisation, but I never really like got a grasp on things because I was just not musically knowledgeable enough to understand what was going on.
Mm.
So,
Right.
but because of all this, I already decided in Form 4 that I wanted to do music as a career, and I looked online and I happened to find this college which I went to. It's named International College of Music, Kuala Lumpur. I don't know, but for short, it's called ICOM. You know, uh, so I enrolled. I got in. Um, yeah, so that's when I started uh, advancing in music.
Mm.
you know, with theory and everything, where I am today. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's just the whole thing.
That's a very, very long backstory, but like, I mean, it's nice to see
Yeah,
lah.
but
I
like
mean,
you
yeah,
you needed the context to know where I like sort of
yeah. Oh, no, no, of course,
went to,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like it's nice to see. I mean, being with you like throughout this journey, also like knowing you for that long, like your like initially, I guess you could say your dad is kind of the inspiration to you starting
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, and then how you viewed it as like getting stale, like becoming very one dimensional, and then like the evolution. I think was you said Form 4, right? 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Form 4 when you discovered like the new genres and everything, that really like piqued your interest in music like even more, like to the point where you even decided you wanted to pursue it like more in depth into theory and probably as a career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to see lah, like the whole context is there. I mean, people will know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
No. I mean, I felt like it was necessary
yeah,
to,
of course, no,
to
no,
bring
it's,
all that up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. But
I
but
mean,
but I guess the other thing also is like the short part of like the younger side
mm,
when I was like I was still in primary school. My mom played a lot of like soul R&B stuff also. So I would listen to Stevie Wonder and like Earth, Wind and Fire, like those kind of stuff for a while. Then also, so yeah, that's
mm.
what I listen to mostly now, anyways. So yeah.
I mean it helps lah, right? Because like a lot of like musical, how do I say, you've been exposed to a lot of like music when you were young also, so that kind of helped in the
Yeah,
process of you learning and loving music more.
yeah, for sure.
I mean that's a good transition anyways. So I mean, like you mentioned your whole backstory and everything, so something from more of a, I guess, hobby or initial passion, I guess. So
Mm.
how would you, or how do you want to push yourself from music being just like a hobby to something that you want to do like more, something that can go beyond just a hobby?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, the first thing I want to make sure that happens is that I have fun doing it. Because if I don't have fun doing it, like what's the point?
Yeah,
I'm
of
just making
course.
myself suffer. I might as well just work like a corporate job that I don't like. you know. But at least I get steady income doing that.
True, true.
Yeah, the risk of being a musician or an artist anywhere in the world is that you have a very high possibility of not getting stable income. So a lot of people tend to have a backup plan or sort of like a job on the side to earn money while they want to make that dream happen. And I've thought about it. Like I definitely want myself uh to develop and evolve into the musician and artist that I want to be. I want to try and not, I wouldn't say revolutionize, that's a very strong power, a strong word, but I definitely want to attempt to play a role in changing how people view the local music scene here. And there are a lot of hidden gems that people don't know of,
Mm,
and like it's just sad to see that a lot of good Malaysian artists, musicians, whatever, they're like not getting the recognition they deserve. So I want to try and change that. Uh, and yeah, I just hope that I get to be a part of the music industry here in Malaysia. I as much as uh, being in the industry in another country is it's a good idea. It's a great idea. There are so many benefits to it compared to being one here. But Malaysia is my country,
yeah, at the end of the
and
day, home is home, right?
I want to see it change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to see it change. I want to put more local artists on the map for people. you know. Yeah, so that's the main goal. I just want everyone's message to be heard in song form. That's what I say. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it's tough. It's I would say it's really tough to get to where you want to be, because it's a lot of sacrifice. Honestly, it's a lot of time you have to put into, especially making your own stuff. You have to keep on creating, which in my case, like, I have so many things that I have made, so many songs that I've made that I don't release, and that's part of the process. Honestly, like, you just have to keep on making, and you will see improvement, definitely. And I definitely have seen slight improvement in what I create. But the trouble is, not everything you make is going to be released, because ultimately those things could just be things you make to make yourself feel like you're progressing, you know. And for me, I guess, and for anyone, you have to be consistent with how much you create, and just getting inspiration from maybe songs that you've been listening to recently, or, like, if you're someone who's more attuned to, like, lyrical writing instead of the whole, like, instrumental process. Those things can be like just hearing a story from a friend, and or like life events that's been happening around you, or your friends, your family, this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just a lot of consistency, and just keep yourself going without dragging yourself down too often. That's the tough part, but it's the real part. Yeah.
I mean,
But other than that, honestly,
Mhm.
sorry,
It's
but
okay,
other than
go
that,
on, go on, go
honestly,
on.
like, it's pretty much just playing by ear, honestly. If you have the right opportunity, if you feel like you want to go for it, just go for it. That's it.
So keep working hard and just take any opportunity that comes down,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, pretty much.
So you mentioned that sometimes when you make like certain content for yourself and you want to release it, but at the same time you don't really release it, and you really sometimes you just get discouraged because of it. So how do you yourself personally deal with like this discouragement?
Well, honestly, it's it's not the easiest thing to do, but I try to just tell myself that this is part of the process, and I'll just keep on doing what I do, But definitely, while the song making process happens, there are times where, like, because you keep on hearing the same loop of things when you're making it, right?
Mm.
And honestly, sometimes you get to a point in that process where, like, is this right? Does it sound right? Like, the, it doesn't make me feel a certain way. There are songs that I really like that I've made, and those songs make me want to continue recording stuff in the thing. So when I don't get that feeling, I usually take a step back, and, like, I sort of just I either listen to music that I like artists or a certain genre, and I just sort of just sit there in my room. I look at the ceiling or something. I just kind of, like, zone out
So
to just absorb music.
try to find that
You know?
inspiration or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and, like, sort of just forget about how I feel about that in that moment, and then I'll come back to it, and I'll at least try to finish it, even though it's not something that I 100% like, but at least I finished it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean,
Do-
there are other ways to distract yourself. but,
I mean, it's just your way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then do you make it a habit to always like try and finish whatever piece you're working on?
Oh yeah, for sure. But um, I can't say that for the last few ones that I've made. The last few ones that I've made are like only like a minute or slightly more than a minute long, and like, I mean, they sound great, but I just haven't come back to them to finish them. I don't know why, but
It's just an
yeah,
incomplete
I think
piece, right? Yeah.
definitely. But I really like how they sound. So yeah.
Okay. Then moving on, I guess we'll go to our next question. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about like the music scene in Malaysia? I mean, you've mentioned a bit earlier, so now you can go like more in depth about how you feel about the whole thing here.
Right. So it's mainly split into two, which is there are two markets. One is the urban market, and the other one is going to be the Malay market, right? So the big elephant in the room is that the Malay market is the more successful one in this country, which it's not a bad thing, you know, that a lot of people know of these people in that part of the industry. But the people in the urban market, I feel like don't get as much love as they deserve. You know, with people like, I would say Midnight Music is the biggest one of the
Yeah.
biggest ones in the urban market in Malaysia. And they definitely do get the recognition and the love that they deserve. Big ups to them. Yeah, I know I know them. Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. But other than that, you know, who else do we have in the urban market? Like, I would say Insomniacs. People like Insomniacs and Dollar. They
Mostly
sort of
bands and groups, right? Like the ones that really make it out there.
So those Insomniacs and Dollar, they both tackle the urban and the Malay industry, the Malay market, sorry. But I would honestly say that it's sort of like 60 Malay market and then 40 to like urban. So it's definitely more Malay, like consume. It's again, it's not a bad thing. It's wonderful that people are listening, you know. But it's kind of sad to see that some people who go into the industry wanting just like they just want fame out of it, you know. And some of these people, sadly, and it's the brutal truth of how it works here. But as long as you look good and you sound okay, the if you can pull followers, you that's it. Like you got a record deal, or you know, you're singing to like thousands of people.
Damn. Okay.
Just being yeah, which kind of sucks, honestly. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but there are definitely people like that in the industry, you know. And like the on honestly, I from my opinion, uh the songs that I created mainly in the Malay market, I feel like it hasn't developed or hasn't evolved as much as like, let's say, Indonesia, right? Indonesia's local scene it's crazy. The amount of talent that they have in terms of like musicians and maybe even like singers and like producers, whatever, right? But they're on like a whole nother level. And they have so many different genres and styles that they do. But here in Malaysia, the Malay market artists, they, I don't know, maybe to me it may seem repetitive and like overused. And to some people, they can argue like, no, it's different. It's like, you know, their own thing. But yeah, man, I just don't see it being different anymore. You know, it's just they have this one formula of creating songs. Okay, this is the formula to make few, maybe like 100,000 million ringgit, whatever.
Like
just play.
specifically catering to the Malay market, right?
Like not yeah. So I'll get more into detail, but basically it's like, let's say, okay, you play C, A minor, F, G. That's it, $1 million chords right there. Typical pop song. Then you
Yeah.
just add like some like sendu shouting, like not shouting, like falsetto.
The
You
extended
like go up
falsetto,
high.
whatever.
Yeah. Then you get all like the sendu lyrics and shit. You talk about love or whatever, and like that's it. Boom.
You put in
Your
some
hit.
rain or whatever in the MV or what. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all
Your
you
hit.
need.
You know. Yeah. And it's good, but they've
It's the
been doing it
same.
for so many years. It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same. Like I've never heard a Malay artist or like band do something out of that. It's so rare to find. There are definitely people who do it, but they're obviously not as big as the people who make all these money from these pop songs that they make.
Then do you think
So
the reason why like the music scene here doesn't really take off is because everything is like stagnant and people want the same thing over and over?
honestly, yes. Yeah. And not just the local music scene, but with Western music
Mm.
and what's popular like overseas in the US, especially the UK, whatever, right? Pop songs are what make money, to be honest. And I'm not gonna lie, some of them are great. Some songs are great, but that's just where it's at.
It's the
It's
same.
the typical radio top 50 hits, whatever.
Yeah.
And like there are the occasional standout songs, but yeah, it's just that, and it's also just I guess the lack of wanting to find out about local artists who do the same thing that your favorite Western artists sort of do or make. You know, yeah. So that's the biggest downside I feel when it comes to the Malaysian music scene.
Right.
Definitely.
So how should people, I mean whoever's watching this, how should they get into starting to look for new artists, especially in Malaysia? Like specifically for Malaysia, how should they start to enter the market,
All right.
like venture into it?
I can tell you from my experience, looking online is honestly one of the hardest things in the world to do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I can. Okay, well, the easiest one of the easiest things you can do is also to go on the internet and dig up information and try to find, but it's pretty hard. So the next best thing to do is to just find out about local shows that are going to happen or that are happening, and just turn up and enjoy what they do. Enjoy the music, indulge, consume, and most of the time, these musicians or artists, they are friendly enough to talk to you for a while. So it wouldn't hurt if you just went up to them and just say, "Hey, I love your music. Do you have uh, any platform that you've released music on?" Then from there you can sort of just explore, and then you can maybe meet people who are in the local scene themselves, and from there you can sort of just find out about all these like local artists, you know which I have a friend that is from AIM as well, which is the current university I'm going to, Australian Institute of Music.
Mhm.
So he's Malaysian as well, and uh he's quite knowledgeable of the local music scene, but more towards like I guess the indie alternative rock part
Right.
of the whole
Okay.
scene. Yeah, and he has shown me quite a few local bands, artists, which I'm really sorry can't remember all of their names. But he showed me he showed me their songs, and there are some artists when he showed me, he didn't tell me that they were Malaysian at first, so he would just play me the song, and then I'm like, wow, this is actually like pretty dope, and they don't sound Malaysian at all, you know. They have a very unique sound to them, and they sound like they can go miles and miles into success if they were in like a country like Australia or like anywhere else that appreciates their local scene a lot.
And what
But
was your reaction when you found out they were Malaysian?
I was blown away. I was blown away, dude. It's because it's so different. It's like miles apart from what you get in like the Malay like pop scene. You know, like not all these bands sing in Malay, but it's just so different. It's so absurdly different. It's so unique. It's special, and it's definitely on par with, I would say, a lot of Western music that's released now.
Because they're not
But
following
they're
that
just on
formula,
purpose.
right?
Yeah, and they're just doing their own thing, and like to me, it's kind of upset that they don't have as much recognition as they should get, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just sad, man.
All right, I mean, it's very interesting to get your thoughts because, like, I mean, okay lah, I admit I'm guilty of this as well because I don't actively search for like any Malaysian talents to listen to and whatnot. I mean, apart from the famous ones that we all know, like Midnight Music, like you mentioned, then yeah, I know about them because of you guys. But if it wasn't because of you guys, also, I don't think I would have known. So yeah, I will try to look for more.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely hard. Like, but I guess. Oh, I guess the other thing is that a lot of people here don't turn up to like music shows, events, or festivals with the mindset of possibly discovering a new band or new artist that they like.
Mm.
They sort of, I guess it's not wrong to go to an event to watch someone that you do truly enjoy, you know.
Of course.
But at the same time, like, let's say if you go to like Good Vibes, okay, if you go to Good Vibes, right, and like for example, I think it was 2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago, you wanted to go because of Daniel Caesar, right? So you're paying don't tell me you're paying hundreds of ringgit for a music festival. It's a whole day of music,
To
you
put this
know,
into one guy.
and yeah, exactly. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. Do go because you like them, but are you really not gonna like possibly discover or consume music that's already there in front of you for as much as you've paid, you know? Like, just do it, man. Like, if it piques your interest, why not? Especially with uh small shows outside. It might be harder to find small shows outside, but a lot of these shows, most of the time, they're either really cheap or they're even free sometimes even. But you know, if you feel like you want to indulge, just try and
Just go expose yourself, have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I hope whoever's listening would maybe start doing something different, or maybe this is a good way for you to start as well, looking for more Malaysian talents and whatnot. So yeah, then I guess that leads us to our final question, or well, question. So I guess what advice would you give to up and coming musicians or probably younger talents from your, how long have you been doing this? 12 plus years doing music? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess doing music properly, probably like it's been like 4 years, 3 years, 3 years. I was say 3 years. Okay. Yeah, that's properly 3 years, but have been doing musical stuff, then yeah, 12 years. Yeah. But what would I say? Uh, do it because you love it, and just keep on pushing yourself to be who you envision you want to be. Definitely, because doing music, as fun as it sounds, and as as much creative leeway you get doing it, you definitely will find yourself having to come over hurdles or maybe even mountains to get to where you want to be. And I'm still going through that as well. I'm not big or anything, but like I've definitely put a lot of thought in this. And you just have to be ready to push yourself when nobody is around there to like give you support, because you're gonna be the biggest reason you get to where you want to be, you know. So just keep on doing you, stay you, just yeah. I'm bad.
Chill, dude. It's fine. No
Uh,
lah. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who, I mean, heck, like maybe they were you 12 years ago, like just starting out,
Yeah,
starting to get into this. Maybe they come across this video, or maybe this advice to someone who they can tell to others as well. And I'm sure it
yeah,
helps. Yeah. So no worries about it. So yeah.
yeah. Honestly, the biggest thing is just have fun and be yourself. Yeah, pretty much it.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Before we end the episode, do you want to plug anything like your I don't know, your Spotify? You have music.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
uh, well, it's gonna be really hard to find, but I have a
Okay.
song on Spotify. My artist name is Mir, Mir, all in uppercase. Good luck trying to find it.
It's okay.
I have
We'll
one song on there.
we'll put
Yeah.
the links and everything in the bottom, and then like it'll be here as well, edited.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's that. If you wanna follow me on Instagram, it's Amir the Bear, AmirThebear. I don't post as much as I should be. It's a lot of stupid stuff. Yeah, yeah. So,
uh.
but that's all I have.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
have my SoundCloud as well. SoundCloud. That's why I release a lot of beats and stuff. It's mainly more towards beats. Yeah, same thing. Mir. It's a picture of me, like with my eye, like that, something
That's
like
some
that.
Illuminati shit, man, right there.
No hand, no hand. It's just I was just trying to show. It's like in my eye. Yeah, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's all for today's episode. If you are interested in checking out Amir's socials and Spotify and SoundCloud, the links will be in the description. I mean, I've shown it here, but yeah, links will be in the description. Uh, if you want to check out more episodes on Mic'd Up, links in the description as well. So yeah, thank you again, Amir, for taking your time for coming onto the podcast, sharing your insight and
Yeah.
your experience and background. All right,
Yeah,
so
no
that's
reason.
all. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.